Paul considers Jesus to be a curse.
Now, look, to be completely honest, this critic is absolutely correct. I am not gonna lie, he got us, guys. He got us good. Paul did say that Jesus Christ definitely did become a curse. That is absolutely true, for the scriptures actually do say that cursed is everyone who hangs on a tree. What Paul does is he correlates the punishment that happened to criminals in the Old Testament, those who hung on a tree. He attributes that to Christ, and he labels Christ as the curse, as Moses in the Old Testament described the criminal as being cursed for hanging on a tree as due punishment. The cursed one was an individual who broke the law of God. Now, the problem with the critic and a lot of others who are skeptical of truth, I would say the greatest talent that they actually have is to take the Bible out of its original context by taking verses out of their original context and avoiding the totality of the passages that they are trying to allude to. Well, you gotta start a little earlier before we get to this verse. For as many as are of the works of the law are under the curse. For it is written, cursed is everyone who does not continue in all things which are written in the book of the law to do them. No one is justified by the law in the sight of God. And this is evident, for the just shall live by faith. So clearly what we see according to the text is those who are accursed are actually those who are seeking justification through the fulfillment, through the practice, the perfect practice of the law of God. But what we do know is that all have fallen short of the glory of God. No man is righteous, no, not one. And clearly what we see in the text is that those who are justified will only be justified by faith. But how is this actually applied?
Christ redeemed us from the curse of the law by becoming a curse for us.
So he became a curse, huh? Your God became a curse. Can you believe that?
Now, it is extremely important to note that Jesus has become, according to scripture, our substitute. This is necessary for salvation. This is called substitutionary atonement, which means instead of us who fall under the curse of God because we do not fulfill his righteous standard, Jesus steps into our place and fulfills the void for us.
Because he's taking the sins.
Who cursed him? Finish the passage.
For it is written, cursed is everyone who is hung on a pole.
Deuteronomy chapter 21 verse 23. Anyone who is hung on a pole is under God's curse. Whose curse is it?
Jesus, the only one who was able to satisfy the wrath of God, had to become man in order to absorb the curse of the law that we were to absorb because we are actually the cursed ones. Instead, Jesus takes our place. He dies as a man and he satisfies God's wrath because he is God in the flesh. So this is how the sacrifice of Christ is able to free us from the curse. Hence, he had to become the curse and to give us the righteousness of God because he is divine. He is God in the flesh. Hence, we receive his righteousness. So now when we are presented before the Father sees us as he sees his Son. So when people take scripture out of context and they try to make it seem as if they know what they're saying, remember guys, context is key. Meaning, read the totality of scripture. Once you put that big picture together, you'll be able to expose the wolves for what they actually are. So Jesus Christ is our perfect substitute, had to become man in order to absorb the wrath of God, had to become man in order to take upon the curse that was allotted to us, in order that we could swap places and be imputed with the righteousness that Christ has, so that when we present ourselves to the Father, he sees us as his Son.